It's taken me a really long time to make this video because I want to make sure that I say and cover everything I want to say, but I also really want to make sure I say everything correctly. So I'm going to do my best to just kind of just talk from how I really feel, specifically, I guess, in this moment. I've also made a little bit of a list of the topics I want to discuss, but I know no matter what, I'm going to miss something in this video. Something's going to get misunderstood, and that's just the way it is. But I'm gonna speak from the heart and just explain to you guys why I no longer want a business. I realized there was 3 different categories to the reasons as to why I no longer want a business. The first category is reasons why I initially closed. It was basically the things that pushed me to my limits, that gave me no choice but to close. The next category is reasons that were in the back of my mind for a couple of years before I even closed. So even though I had things that forced me to close my business when I did 3 years ago, there were still things prior to that that were building up in the back of my mind that kind of was already pushing me towards wanting to close my business. And finally, the last category is reasons I learned why I wanted to close the business after actually closing the business. And then honestly, there's actually a 4th category, and this category is why I still want a business. We'll talk about that last. So first off, reasons why I initially closed. So these are the reasons that pushed me and basically forced me to close my business 3 years ago. And the first one is health issues. I essentially couldn't use my arms. I've explained this story before. Essentially, I woke up, my arms were numb. Doctors told me it was carpal tunnel. Turns out it was thoracic outlet syndrome. And since I didn't know what was wrong with me for like 2 years, my thoracic outlet syndrome just continuously got worse because I was being treated for carpal tunnel. And I even got carpal tunnel surgery. And basically, since I didn't know what was wrong with me for a really long time, and it hurt every time I used my arms, I couldn't really continue having a business. So I had to really look at my sources of income and pick the source of income that makes me the most money for the least amount of work. And that is being a content creator on YouTube as opposed to owning a business, because owning a business is a lot more labor. Another reason that forced me, I was depressed. That kind of goes in with all the health issues. That's what forced me into my depression. But yeah, that's a reason. I was depressed. There was no motivation there for me to keep going. This whole section could get dark if I went in detail about it, but if you've been depressed before, you know how hard it is to be depressed. So yeah. The next reason, I was overworked. Like simply, I had many different sources of income. I'm a content creator. There's so many different social media platforms now, and running a business and doing all of the content creating, it just got to be too much. And I picked content creating over being a business owner. I mean, being a content creator is still like you're still self-employed, you're still like a business owner, but it's different because you're not selling product to consumers. It's a completely different type of business, and it's not the type of business I'm referring to. But being a content creator was the source of income that I liked more. So I chose that over having a product-based business where I sold skincare products. Another reason that forced me to close is I just didn't scale up properly. 2020, I had a huge boom in sales, and I really just thought after the pandemic, sales would start slowing down. There was a lot of purchasing going on online during the pandemic, and that really allowed a lot of small businesses, specifically e-commerce, to blow up. That allowed my business to blow up. And I honestly thought the momentum would die down after COVID, but everything just continuously grew, and I did not make the moves to hire proper people, to move into a larger facility. So since I didn't make those next steps, it was a huge struggle with my business, and on top of all the health issues and everything on top of that, yeah. And lastly, what initially pushed me to finally close my business is I knew I would have more time to focus on YouTube. And like I said, being a content creator is what I prefer over being a business owner who sells physical products. So I chose content creating. The next category is reasons that were in the back of my mind for a couple of years before closing. I only wrote one thing down here, but I wanted to change a lot of the formulas to my products but I knew it would take a lot of time. So when I started my business, I'll admit I did not know a lot about cosmetic formulation. And after years went on, I realized there was a lot of things about my products I wanted to change. But since I already had such a huge customer base, people continuously buying my product, it would be a huge workload to continuously keep my business open, selling product, but also reformulating the products at the same time. And I could have done that, but I would have had to make the steps to hire people, to be in a bigger facility, do all those things that would help my growing pains in order for me to focus on that aspect. But it didn't work out. Also, another thing that I'm remembering right now that I didn't write down, I just remember like a few years before closing my business, watching Shark Tank and hearing the way that they talked about business. And I don't really want to get too in depth about it. I remember I wrote some whole thing down in my notes about it. And I was going to like do a whole video on it. But essentially, it's just that like when I really started to truly understand business, specifically in the United States, a lot of the goals with businesses here are to grow, then sell to somebody. And essentially, I kind of just realized like, wow, so many businesses, in order for them to be successful, like they're successful when they finally sell for millions of dollars. And it's almost like, I don't know, I could say a lot about this section. I'm just trying to not go out off on a tangent, but essentially, when I truly started to understand like the importance of turning a profit in your business, like when you don't become the sole person in your business and you know there's so many other people relying on you, and knowing you have to either like change prices or cut costs in order to stay afloat. Like when I truly started understanding business and how much money I had to make in order to pay myself how much I wanted to make, I was like, wow, I didn't really understand business until now, did I? And I remember having that epiphany watching Shark Tank like a couple years before I closed my business. That's like the short version of it. And then reasons I learned after actually closing my business. I can't handle all the GMP cleaning, sanitizing, all that needs done. It honestly just gives me anxiety. I didn't realize this until after I closed the business, but I have like so much like cleanliness anxiety when it comes to selling my cosmetics, because if you formulate cosmetics, you know how clean of a space you need. Your products, once they're out of your hands, they're out of your hands. You don't know what can happen to them. You don't know what they're doing. And it just always made me so anxious that like something was molding or something got contaminated. And honestly, I don't want that anxiety anymore. So that leads me to the next reason is I wouldn't want to personally make the products. I would want the products to be made in a lab facility. And again, like I said, since I never made those moves to scale up my business, I was just at a point where it would have been so much work for me to be able to find the manufacturer and lab to start creating them. And again, like I said, those were all things I didn't want to do because I wanted to focus on YouTube. Now, years later, I'm realizing, okay, if I were to launch a business again, I would not be the one manufacturing the products. I would want a lab and facility to manufacture them, package them up, and probably ship them as well. Like, because I wouldn't want them to then be shipped to me and then me have to ship them out. Because packing up products to ship them out is so much work too. I have thoracic outlet syndrome now, so I can't do anything repetitive with this arm. So essentially, yeah, I wouldn't want to be doing any of that work. And after I closed my business, it made me realize a lot of people who own their businesses aren't doing any of that. And yes, they typically do those when you first start out, but I was at the point where I messed up and I didn't scale up when I needed to scale up. One more reason is I'm not even sure if I have anything like really innovative to contribute to the beauty industry. And I kind of hesitate to say that because I really do have formulas that I absolutely love. I love my products more than any other cosmetic I've tried like out there. So I really do feel like I have some great formulas, but it's like, it doesn't matter if you have a great formula. It's, can you sell it to people? And it's like, are my products innovative enough to be sold to somebody? Just because they're great, that doesn't matter. I don't know if I'm at the level to be able to create a business that's big enough to stay successful. Your business has got to make a lot of money in order to pay its people, to pay the facility, to keep everything running. And the only way I would want a cosmetic business is if I'm not doing any of that. So I would need make sure I'm making a large amount of sales in order to keep all that up. And honestly, that's not something I really want to worry about anymore. I just don't. I don't want to do it. I just want to make products and have fun. But if someone else wants to make my products for me and ship those out and then like me make like money off of it that way, of course. But I can't be the one to do it anymore. That's just not possible for me physically anymore. And I have also learned that I don't want to overwork myself anymore. I have overworked myself in my 20s to get myself to a point now to where I have my dream job, my dream career, and I want to enjoy that. I don't want to be miserable all the time trying to sell cosmetics and obsess over the cleanliness of my area, making sure everything's sanitized. It's just too much for me. I like making content for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy that as well. You know, all of this isn't to say that I wouldn't want a business again with, like I said, the lists of things I've said. Oh yeah, my category, why I still want a business. Let's talk about that. I think I already said this, but I have formulas I really do love that I want to share with people. I also do feel like it would go great with my channel because it'd be kind of like merch. Like I want to see like my products as like almost like merch, or like products that you guys can buy and also be like, oh yeah, like I love when she made that scrub and I want to try that scrub, so I'm going to buy it from her. Like, so I do see like a possibility of like selling cosmetics in the future because there is a want there. There's also a sense of like fun and fulfillment in like a business, like being able to brand it and like the creative aspect of it. But I get that outlet through YouTube. So, you know, I guess that's fine. It's just that like now that I'm older and I really sit with myself and I truly understand what it means to own a product-based business where you're selling to consumers, you're trying to make X amount of money to stay afloat, to pay your people, to keep the rent paid. It's just a lot. It'd be different if I wasn't already doing YouTube and like successful at this. And I picked this over the hardcore business that took a lot of work, that I would have to hire people and do a lot of stuff for. And you know, maybe someone else in my position would have picked the business. I don't know, but I really like YouTube. Being a YouTuber has always been my dream. And a lot of YouTubers have like businesses and stuff like that also that go along with their channel. So, you know, it's not out of the question. But here's where I stand now. And just truly understanding the like hurdles of business, especially in the beauty industry where it's so saturated and there's just lip balms and lip glosses and everything of the same product everywhere. I just don't want to have to be constantly selling myself. I just want people to like what I create. And if you like what I create and then you want to buy the product that I make also, you know, that'd be great. But here we are. So hope that clears things up for you guys. This isn't to discourage you from trying your own business if you want to start your own business. It's just, I've tried it and I ended up, you know, taking a couple wrong turns and it ended up all weighing down on me, and but that's okay. It all worked out in the end. I always think everybody should try to chase their goals, their dreams, their aspirations, whatever it may be. It's better to try and fail than to never try at all. Just know that it's brutal out there. A lot of people are doing a lot of the same things that you are already doing. It's hard to stand out. And best of luck. Whatever you may be doing, let me know your thoughts, your comments, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the hype button. That helps me out. That's something new on mobile. So hype me up. And that's it, Lab Cats. Let me know why you want a business or why you don't want a business, or what was your business experience if you did have one, or do you have a business currently and what's your experience like? What's it like now in 2026 versus 2020 when you were in business? Because those are two different worlds. But yeah, let me know. Talk to you later, Lab Cats.
Also, don't forget to go over and check out my Patreon, where I post 2 exclusive videos every single month. So there is a ton of videos you can go over and binge watch for only $5 a month. Also, if you don't have access to Patreon in your country, you can sign up as a YouTube member instead. If you sign up for the $10 tier on my Patreon, you get a shout out for your small business. I'll have all these brands linked below. naturesmagicllc.com. From Dusk Soapery on Etsy, LloydCandleCompany.com, HB Royal Retreat Store on Etsy, NaturesFarmGirl.com, Let's Blend LLC, at Stardust Bath and Body, HempyGirl.com, ShopLevi's.com, Owl and Lily over on Etsy, Skin Lounge Co. over on Etsy, blackpetalbeauty.com, embracebeautyessentials.com, legendarybathandbody.com, astarioapothecary.com, Reviga Cosmetics here on YouTube, exorebb.com, pardonaturals.com, naturalstateskin.com, thenatureinnus.ca, nearcatalier.com. Use the code on the screen for 20% off. earthandambernaturals.com, sharkcitynaturals.com, daytorelaxproducts.shop, crownedgloryllc.com, lhscentedsoapsandmore.com, janaerose.com, healthnutbeauty on Etsy, velvettemptations.com, journeyrosebeauty.com, chrbrands.com, Homestead Life Goods on Etsy, CanellaBathandBody.com, MadhouseMamaSoaps.com, XPO.com, Mystical Morning on Etsy, allthingsscent.net, snoota.square.site, 7th House and Oak on Etsy, and mycrownandglory.com. Thank you so much for you guys' support. Without you guys over on Patreon, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. So thank you so much.